Aaron, you do realise it's grey because of you.
What? Really?
Yeah,
What's grey?
the stream.
Oh, okay. I thought you was actually talking something sensible there. I didn't realize you were fucking about.
Right,
Cool.
let's go.
It's almost as I be talking about sarcasm.
Indeed, and that is the opening to the Buff Up Show, episode 12, and it's a very special episode because we're going to be talking about Diablo 3, and we usually talk about the news in the PC gaming world, but this week we're going to be sticking straight to Diablo, and on this conquest with me, on this dungeon crawl, it's the mighty Av.
Hi.
We'll come back to you, Av, because not only do we have Av, we have Aaron. He is so excited to be here. He told me before the show. You know, he even had to restart his PC because
Just for us.
because he wanted to make sure it was perfect. Isn't that right, Aaron?
That is 100% incorrect. But hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. You must be excited, man, because you're actually reviewing this game for NGB. So you're playing and you're thinking, oh, I've got to write about this, and well, that's interesting. Should probably remember that. Am I right, or do you just
You
not
make
go
it, you
through
make it
that?
sound so exciting.
All right, guys.
To be
Go on.
honest, I've not actually played the game on my own yet. I played with you and Av and Sai. So I should probably start doing that very, very soon.
Interesting. Now we'll get into it now, and we'll start off with Monday night. I'm sure. Did you have a digital copy, Aaron, or did you get yours delivered really early because you're reviewing it?
Yeah, we got a proper copy and like delivered like. Well, obviously went to our wonderful editor-in-chief first, and he sent it on to me. So I got it like 4 days early. Obviously, that means jack all when it comes to Blizzard games because we had to wait for servers to go up, which is always fun.
Indeed, you couldn't even install it, could you?
Nope.
There was a countdown timer, like 4 p.m. on British summer time was the time you could install it on the Monday, and that was amazing, man. You had the tavern music. I was talking to you on MSN, and the excitement was there, and people on Reddit were counting down. So it was quite a big event. Av, you got the digital copy, so you were also there at around 12 p.m. European time. Av, did you manage to get into the game straight off?
Well, no, of course not. Nobody did, I think.
Uh,
Maybe the lucky bastards who did.
Error 37. Aaron, you got that error? I was speaking to you, you were like, yeah, I've got the game, just sitting here trying to get into the game. How did that feel? Did that feel typical Blizzard game to you?
Yeah, well, it wasn't just the connection error thing. Like, it was kind of sort of like timing out on the authentication process. I'm not sure if that was just for people who have authenticators attached to their accounts.
Nope.
Is that just
That's-
everybody was experiencing that? Fair enough. And then there was when I did finally actually get in, I was told that I hadn't activated my copy of Diablo, which I had done like 4 days prior. So yeah, it wasn't a fun process, but I guess it was worth it.
Did you expect to have trouble? I mean, last time I had trouble with the Blizzard game was the Burning Crusade. It was World of Warcraft's first expansion, and everyone. WoW was big by then, so everyone bought the expansion. They were trying to get in at midnight, and the servers kept going down. I remember the servers went down for quite a while. But like, were you expecting this? You don't get this from latest Blizzard games, do you?
I don't know, man. I mean, people have been waiting for Diablo for centuries. I'm exaggerating, but whatever. I think they should have been slightly better prepared with the servers or whatever went wrong, because it was obvious they were going to have issues.
Go on,
Sorry?
Av.
You would think that the beta would have taught them something.
Well, the thing is that they said that they had like a little preparation guide for because as Blizzard do, they know things might go wrong, and they said error 37 is going to happen. Just keep trying to log in. That's what they said. I mean, there was an article on PC Gamer that says don't worry about error 37. You might get that, and you just might have to keep trying to log in. I mean, I know some
Yes.
people wrote scripts, so like a little login script, like would automatically keep trying to log them in. So
Didn't that article say something about it was supposed to be like 40-second intervals, so it would take you like 40 seconds to log in or something like that. They were doing some kind of interval, so it would make it easier, so they didn't
Oh,
have
I
like
did not read that.
blocked,
Perhaps,
blocked
perhaps.
servers or whatever. But I was sitting there for a good 45 minutes, mate, just clicking. So it was a long time.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, these things happen. You touched on the whole 12-year thing. We've been waiting ages. But me and you, we're quite new to the franchise that is Diablo. I mean, what were you expecting? You're a massive Diablo fan. Is this like the third coming?
Third coming. No, this is basically how it should be. Like, I have no issues with this game. Maybe the Act 4 should be a bit longer, but other than that, this is Diablo. Like, enough to keep me interested for a while.
so as a like a veteran of the series, I know a lot of people are complaining about the way skills have been handled, and there's been loads of debate on forums and stuff. How are you finding it?
Well, this
Do you
is
miss
pretty.
do you miss your trees?
Yes and no, because trees were a nice thing, obviously, but it was so much limited there. Like, you could only really have two skills active ever.
It was the illusion of choice. Are you saying?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I would like more skills, obviously, but the skills we have seem to be pretty well balanced. And, well, this is probably another thing Blizzard did for two reasons. The consoles, and the fact that least skills means it's easier to balance in PvP as well.
Yeah, I mean, having played the beta, they kept changing the skill system and the rune system, and finally now we have this finalized system. I mean, it seems pretty slick. We've got these menus, and you can only bind certain spells at certain times. So like you can only have one defensive spell and one secondary spell, and all these things, these limitations. But I suppose those limitations will keep things balanced. They haven't opened it up so widely. Just going back to the whole anticipation of the game. I mean, there are very few games that get me really, really excited. I remember when I was in like the midst of World of Warcraft, like a new expansion for that was like the anticipation rating was massive. I mean, I would buy a collector's edition and I would buy a standard edition I would buy the standard edition so I could play the game at midnight, because I knew my collector's edition always came on the actual day of release, so I'd get it late. I mean, for either of you, was this release up there with like, oh my god, I can't wait, or was it just like, yeah, it's a good game, but you know, it can wait a day?
No, not really. It was the good game, but I can wait. Like, this, like I said earlier, like this is pretty much how it should be. There's nothing awe-inspiring in this game. Like, it plays as it should.
How dare you have? We're heathens, right? We should be excited. We should have been excited, man. We should have been spending twice the price just to get the game at 12 o'clock. No?
Like you, buying
No.
3.
Well, yeah. I bought 3 collector's editions copies, but I sold 2 to fund my 1 collector's edition. But yeah, enough of that. Just before we go into the actual game, just to keep it at the whole entry level of the game, this is a question we got on the NGB podcast, which is the main podcast on nextgengamingblog.com. Basically, someone sent a question in and they said, you know, as a console gamer, I want to play Diablo 3, but I'm a bit scared to get into the whole PC thing. Should I be worried with all these errors? Basically, these errors are putting console gamers off from perhaps purchasing a PC game. My answer was that, you know, as a PC gamer, we sort of get used to these errors and we just quickly look it up on the internet and we find a fix. That's what I did yesterday when my copy wouldn't actually install on my laptop. For some reason, I just deleted the battle.net cache folder and reinstalled, and it worked fine. I mean, Aaron, how would you answer that question?
Well, first of all, considering how like stringent like Microsoft are with like their testing and what they allow on Xbox Live, or the Xbox in particular, I'd imagine that all these errors would be gone completely before the game even arrived there. So I don't think they've got really anything to worry about. As you said, it's more of a PC gamers are kind of expected to handle these kind of things. It's nothing new. Obviously, they can't balance it for every PC. Obviously, there's going to be server issues because it's handled within Blizzard. Whereas, I don't know. Microsoft might have more like strict rules. Well, we already know
Yeah.
they have more strict rules with what conforms to their compliance. So,
So would you tell
yeah,
this guy to wait for the console version? Because we know the console version's probably coming. Or would you say, come on, embrace the PC and, you know, get it on
or
PC?
I'd say stop being a wanker and just
Oh,
PC, man.
harsh. Do you have anything to add to that?
Not really. This is pretty much it. Like,
Oh,
pretty much covered it.
okay. Well, to balance it out, what Adrian said was he said, you know, the product should work. As a consumer, you're paying for the product, and it should just work. You shouldn't have to have these issues.
Aye, but certain issues like that are not foreseeable.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Oh,
It can't be helped.
I don't know. I think this was pretty foreseeable.
This
I
one,
think-
obviously, I've been mocking this for ages, but this one they could have seen, but this is another thing. Like most of the other errors are unforeseeable problems. Like the fact that it didn't want to install, that's not exactly foreseeable.
Fair enough. All right, we'll go into the game a little bit now, and as usual, we open up with a pretty stunning Blizzard cutscene, the ones we've seen. But I'm sure you've seen a couple of cutscenes that haven't been released to the general public before release of the game. I mean, do you look forward to these cutscenes? Like when you see them, I was like, yes, I get to see one of these amazing Blizzard cutscenes.
I've already seen everything, so
Well, yeah, you completed the game. You've actually gone through all the acts. Do they get better and better as they go along?
well, yeah. The cutscenes are the Blizzard quality, obviously, the really good ones. I can't exactly go in detail, obviously, but they are pretty damn good. There aren't that many as you would want, I guess, but each act gets a cutscene.
Each act gets one massive cutscene, and there are mini cutscenes in between, I believe. Graphically speaking, Aaron, how do you feel about the graphics? When I logged in, I thought, oh, my barbarian's missing a few polygons, because you see him really up close at the login screen when you're selecting your character. In game though, the camera's fixed.
Yeah, when you're far away, it's not bad. Once you press Z though, which you're not going to play the game at that angle anyway, but it's nice to just like look at your armor sometimes. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're vain bastards. It doesn't look particularly tasty at all. But hey,
Doesn't, does it?
the other side of that is that it pretty much seems to run on anything.
Yeah, I mean, you were playing on your laptop, and did you run it off your i7 processor?
Yes, I
Sandy
did.
Bridge?
That was a complete accident, by the way. I was like, what's going on?
How many
Oh,
frames did you get? Do you know?
It looked, I didn't have fraps up, but it looked about like 10, 11 or something.
Okay, and that's the Sandy Bridge processor. If you're using the new
Yeah.
Ivy Bridge, you could well run this at maybe 20 to 30 frames on some of the lower settings, maybe.
Maybe. Oh yeah, and I didn't lower it. It was
Yeah,
all on high.
Okay, so
yeah.
well, graphically speaking, Blizzard generally cater for the mass market, and there aren't too many options like medium, high, or low. And there's like are there textures? Is there ultra?
StarCraft had an ultra.
Yeah, StarCraft had an ultra, but this game doesn't have an ultra. It's like medium, high, or low.
High low.
Yeah.
Texture quality high low.
Yeah.
Shadow is. No, you're right. No ultra here.
Well, Av, you're probably the best person to ask this question. Obviously, the color palette of the first act is all around New Tristram, and it's all dark and gothic looking. I'm in the second act now, and it's nice yellow and sandy. I mean, is there a color contrast in each act?
Generally, yeah. In the third act, you get pretty different than the desert. Oh, spoilers free, that is.
Yeah, we try and keep this spoiler free, but a good color palette is used. I mean, generally, when Blizzard make games, that they make.
Blizzard is trying to make and keep Diablo rather as this dark kind of fantasy.
Yeah. Well,
So most of the places are pretty grim. You know, the dark caves, the maggot-infested lairs, things like that.
it's funny you say that because there is like an Easter egg level, isn't there? That you can see it on PC Gamer that they show you how to do it. Oh, is it PC Gamer? No, it's on CBG. I read about this. There's a secret quest that you can do, and it unlocks this.
The cow level, I guess.
Yeah, that's what they're calling it. They're calling it the cow level, but apparently it's got unicorns in it, rainbow unicorns. Can you confirm this? Have you seen it, Av? Do you know how to complete this quest?
I haven't been in that. might have to look into that.
Have you heard about it?
Nope. You're
What?
actually the first. Well, I have seen items which are obviously,
Easter egg items, yeah.
yeah. In the second act, you can actually see it on the vendor. There's a 100k item, which is. I'm 90% sure this is used for the new cow level. I just didn't know how exactly to get it.
Okay, pretty awesome. Aaron, a question for you. Did you ever think using a mouse would ever be so awesome?
I actually started to get a bit of finger cramp on the launch night.
Really?
Just like I'm interested. How do you navigate? Do you click every time you want to move, or are you just holding the button down?
Oh, dude, my APM is through the roof. I'm clicking everything.
Oh, okay. Because I'm just holding the button down, and then whenever you want to aim and stuff, you use your shift, don't you?
Okay, so you're trying to minimize the clickage.
Yeah, but that it cramps your finger like nobody's business.
Yeah,
So-
he plays a melee character, so I would assume melee would click more.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I've only played the Barbarian so far. I mean, Av, you play League of Legends, so I imagine you do a lot of the clicking action, a lot of the actions per minute. The APM is high. Very.
Thousands.
So a big topic on the Buff Up show has been which class are we all going to play. I chose the Barbarian, and it's pretty awesome. Aaron, you went for the Wizard. Is it everything you'd hoped for?
Well, I didn't actually choose the Wizard, as the people I was co-oping with at the time had my mind is dying. Sorry, mate. They had a Demon Hunter on their team already, so I decided I might as well go with Wizard and do something different. But yeah, it's all right. It's what you'd expect from a ranged nuke class. Just standing at range and blasting things. Although it's nice that you can kind of, it seems you can kind of spec your Wizard as kind of like a battle mage.
Oh, really? What, for like some more melee combat?
Yeah, they've got like, you get, I forgot what the skills are actually called, but after a certain amount of levels, you get like your three kind of like spec skills where you can choose 3 specific things.
What, the passive skill?
Yeah. So if you choose the correct ones, you can actually like run around and just like twat things in the face at close range.
Yeah.
So it's got some quite nice utility. So you can kind of spec how you like, which is kind
You
of
don't
cool.
expect a mage to smack people with a weapon. It's not possible unless you run out of mana. You
No,
can't
I'm saying like,
choose a weapon.
You're
like,
saying durability-wise?
yeah, normally you'd be dead the moment something touches you as a mage, wouldn't you?
You're playing it wrong then. I did get the mage over to Nightmare, and I'm using all the talents that reduce my, increase my damage, but even make me take more damage.
Yeah.
You're going for the glass cannon, whereas Aaron, as he said, is going for the battle mage. And the developers did say at higher difficulties you're going to have to focus more on resistance and armor rather than damage, so you can outlast your opponents. The rune system as well. I don't know if you guys have been at a lower level. You don't get that many runes, but you can start customizing your abilities and making them more DPS wise or slightly better stuns and so on. So you can tweak that a bit. Av, I think I've seen you with at least 3 different characters. Is that correct?
Oh, I have plenty.
Yeah, you've been playing with multiple people, so the way it works is you generally want to be playing with someone that's similar to your level, so you're gaining the same XP and you're doing same sort of level content. So you've been creating new characters depending on who you're playing with. So go on, tell us, you've got the Demon Hunter, you got the
Wizard,
Monk.
It's the level 37. The Demon Hunter is just level 18, the one that I played with you.
Yeah.
And the Monk, that is 28.
What's your favourite so far?
I think the Wizard, actually.
Really?
The Monk is really fun as well.
The Wizard looks really spectacular, I have to say.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, the things you do, the massacre you can unleash.
Oh, the things you do. Sound like you're talking to a lover or something. The things you do, baby. The things you do.
That's how Av feels about the Wizard, Aaron, man. It's just
That's exactly how I feel.
exactly how it feels. Now, going into this obviously it's a 4-player multiplayer game, but it's also very much a single-player game. And the way that works is the difficulty gets multiplied when there are more people in the party. something we were talking about before the show, Av, is these NPC companion characters. You have these companion characters in the game, and you can talk to them, you can bring them along. But if you have a human player in your party, your NPC companion goes back to town, and you were saying you can actually miss out on some of the story because of that, because your NPC character actually talks to you and you can actually interact with them. Is that correct?
Well, not the talking to you mostly, because it's just like idle chatter of the characters. But you can miss out on the fun aspects more than anything. Like characters talking to each other, like you're having one character follow you via the storyline. The other character, which is your follower, actually reacts to that. Like the first, the Templar, for example, he actually reacts if you.
No spoilers. If he speaks to another NPC.
If you're trying to get the second follower, he is actually questioning your motives in getting that character.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's interesting. From a gameplay perspective, I actually did the boss in Act 1 by myself, and I did the trash mobs up to that boss by myself. I just felt more powerful when I was playing alone. When I was in a group of 4, the mobs suddenly became really strong, and I had to we weren't all focusing down the same mob, so they took a while to take down. But by myself, I was like one-shotting things. I was like, oh wow, I feel really powerful now. So I don't know. It's like if you're in a group, it takes away a little bit, but at the same time, you've got that banter going on, and I suppose you can scout out a whole zone quicker. I mean, so far, have you played solely with groups, Av, or have you done any solo stuff?
Monk, I leveled solo pretty much.
Okay. So,
and yeah, the monk, when you play solo, it just demolishes absolutely everything. It's not even a contest of how much pain it can inflict.
okay, so here's a question. At the higher difficulty levels, do you think it's going to be easier to play by yourself, where you just have yourself and you can control the situation within your means, or do you think it's going to be better with a group where you can split mobs up?
By yourself, because mobs don't get harder then.
Well, yeah, but at higher difficulties, they're all going to be focusing you, and you have to run away from them, or get a healing potion. At least when you're with a group, maybe someone else can take the attention for a few seconds.
Well, challenge is fun. Well, expect this to be basically a farm fest, because this is what Diablo 2 and 1 was.
Right.
Just getting together isn't just for the fun of completing the quests, obviously, or doing the acts. You're basically there for the increased challenge and better loot drops.
Okay, Aaron, have you found that? Have you found that you just want to explore every corner of the map, try and find those little areas? There's a secret dungeon there. There's an extra quest there. There's little nuggets.
You find that your group kind of splits apart at some points, and you're like, okay, where did that guy go?
Yeah, because
he's off like exploring that corner of the map because
exactly.
everybody else is killing something over there.
And the thing is,
like, no, but I want my achievement.
Exactly, and you want to follow him because he's like looted some chest, and your gold is waiting there, but you have to go there and get it yourself. It's like, no, come back here.
You just have to play with the right people, obviously. Like, me and Warren were playing this together, and we were clearing the whole maps. Like,
okay.
We weren't skipping zones.
Perish the thought, Av. Perish the thought. We never want to skip zones. So yeah, so far, you're playing on night mode now, Av.
Yeah.
That is the second. Is that the second difficulty up from normal?
Yeah, it is.
How big of a step is that up from normal? Is it like a huge step, or is it manageable?
Yeah, bosses can hurt like hell. Like, maybe not the end bosses, because those can be... those have mechanics, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the end boss of Act 1 had a mechanic where, like, the floor would parts of the sections of the floor would turn to fire, and you had to run away, and he would drag you back into it, so you had to try and resist there. I mean, I imagine that could be quite hard. I mean, you're not exactly speccing or gearing any differently, are you, for the Nightmare mode right now?
No, not yet.
But we can expect, is Inferno the hardest? We can expect resistance gear required there and so on.
I have seen resistance gear dropping, but it's still pretty weak resistance gear.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. The auction house. Aaron, have you played the auction house at all, or have you
No,
just?
I haven't. I haven't touched it at all, mate.
Av, I know you have. You've been all over that. How have you enjoyed the auction house so far? Are prices silly? I mean, we haven't got the real money stuff in yet.
It's actually pretty low when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's because it's Diablo, I'm thinking. It's not because it's Warcraft. Like you would expect rare items to be worth a lot on the auction
Yeah.
house. They're not. Most of the time, they're not.
Okay.
The really good ones, they are, yeah. But most of the time, they're very cheap. Like you can buy very good upgrades for you up until level 30 for under 1,000
Okay.
gold.
That's
Like,
pretty good.
the NPC can actually sell you for, well, scam you for blue items at that price.
Yeah. Interesting. Obviously, the real money stuff isn't introduced yet. I mean, are Blizzard waiting? Why are Blizzard waiting for that? Are they trying to see?
I don't know if they're waiting, but they said it's what they said. They basically, if you click the currency button in the auction house, it will tell you that it's not available yet, and the planned run will be about 27th of this month.
Okay, so it's going to be this month. 27th is
Well, that's expected.
next week, a week or so away. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I've been watching some live streams and people are on Inferno already. I mean, that they blasted through this game so quickly. It's like twice, maybe 3 times over, and they're going for the Inferno run. I mean, we're obviously going to see the biggest gear there. Do you reckon these guys are going to be holding on to their really, really hot loot until this money auction system is in? They don't just want in-game currency.
Probably, but when you think about it, the loot, you see the amount of loot that is dropping. Like, right now, you're not even getting that many because you're still in Act 2 and 1. But in later acts, you keep getting the yellows, and I keep vendoring them because I can't be bothered putting them on the auction house.
So you give them to us.
And I throw gear at you guys, pretty much.
You throw gears at us because we slack. We haven't played much. All right, you can't blame us.
I'm sure I can.
So Aaron, you're reviewing this game.
Hello.
Give us a summary so far, because you're nowhere near completing it, and I'm sure you want to complete it once, maybe twice over, to see how difficult it gets. I mean, you've been playing grouped so far, but as a summary so far, are you happy with the game?
I think anybody going into the game looking for anything other than a typical action MMO is going to be sorely disappointed.
Wow.
It's an MO, right? It's a multiplayer online game. It's a MOG.
Is that not what I said?
You said MMO.
Oh.
Did I?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Sorry. Tired. Yeah, so, I mean, like, in the gap between Diablo 2 and this one, there's been a lot of that genre going around. I mean, it's pretty much like almost the mainstay of the PC gaming these days. So I mean, everybody's familiar with the genre, so it's pretty much more of the same, but with a bit of Blizzard flavor thrown in there, and this Diablo kind of storyline, if that interests you at all, which I think is actually rather weak.
You think the storyline's rather weak?
Bad, actually, it gets better. Like, they did have to retcon a lot in the Diablo 2, but they did a better job than I expected them to do.
Yeah, so I mean, as a pretty much newcomer to the series, I'm enjoying it because it's not something that I've had in overabundance kind of thing. But for somebody who's been playing this type of game over and over again for the past year or so, I mean, I don't know if they might find it a bit too samey, I guess.
Well, Adrian said something funny on the NGV podcast. He says it's quite similar to Borderlands, where you just go out and you're killing this stuff to get loot, and the quests aren't that exciting, but it's just the prospect of loot and you're chilling with your friends is all quite cool. Would you agree with that statement?
Yep, definitely. It's definitely a loot whoring game.
Yeah.
You're not interested in in hoarding loot, then you've come to the wrong place,
Yeah,
more or less.
and I really feel it's a single player game that that plugs into this 4 player group. I mean, each person that comes into the group is an extra add-on almost. Like all the loot that drops that you see is yours. Your friends can drop loot to give you loot like that. They just drop it on the floor. But anything that gets killed from a monster, everything that drops from that monster is yours. You don't have to fight over loot. You don't have to roll over anything. Health potions, health globes, or anything around the world, they're all exclusive pretty much to you.
Health globes aren't.
Are they not?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
They heal AoE. Like if you walk over that, it will heal the whole party.
Okay, fair enough. That's the only thing that isn't then. Okay, fair enough. But as for spells, you can't really cast spells on each other, can you?
No.
It's sort of self-contained. So in a group, you can't like overpower and like use your healing spell on someone. You're basically just contributing to the DPS and the aggro table.
AoE healing,
Yeah.
which heals the group or people nearby. Or Monk is probably the most protective one, where you have like runes you can put on the floor, which can also shield allies and things.
Yes. So,
Yeah, I hear they're the closest thing to a dedicated healer you're going to get in this game. So
yeah.
You would need a dedicated healer. Like with every class having defensive abilities and every class being able to heal themselves with potions, there's hardly any reason to have a dedicated healer. If you suck, you're pretty much.
Well, I'm glad they've done that because you got to be able to stand up by yourself. And then we've been for so long we've been in this MMO culture where it's like tank, healer, DPS, and now it's kind of like, well, everyone's sort of an all-rounder. You can spec one way slightly if you like. I mean, you can spec more tanky, you can spec to get more life back on hits and whatever, more life steely spells, or you can be pure damage. I mean, but it's generally in the Inferno mode, when you go in there as 4 people, it's going to be down to you and tactics used and so on, and decisions you make at the time, which I think is awesome, and I think it's something that Guild Wars 2 is doing. Something that is controversial is the fact that this game is online only. I mean, having been playing MMOs for quite a few years now, I'm sort of used to this always online culture. I'm not too fussed that I have to log in to play a game. I mean, would you have rather had some sort of offline mode for this, or are you quite happy to have to log in?
If it at least had the StarCraft offline mode.
What you mean, where you could play the single player, but you couldn't get achievements?
Exactly. There's no reason for that not to exist.
I would agree with you. I don't know. I think didn't Blizzard say, oh, maybe people might be able to exploit the game whilst it's offline and bring items in through to online?
Leave it offline. Those characters are not on the server.
Yeah. So you mean it's a completely separate game? You can't bring those characters online to your online game?
Well,
Yeah.
server can get this or that on it, or dupe your items into 5 different kinds, and what of it? You can't actually sell it or do anything with it.
Yeah.
That would
Go
make
on.
sense to me.
Yeah.
And it would solve the issues like, hello, this game is going on maintenance for an hour. You can't play your single player game.
Fair enough. Blizzard did say that they feel that the benefits of being always online outweigh the downside to always being online.
That depends on what you're looking for in Diablo 3.
So go on, Aaron. How do you feel about it?
If obviously, if you're very involved in the whole auction house kind of side of things, and you want things to be absolutely fair on that kind of level, then obviously, yeah, it's good to be always online. However, if you're the kind of person who likes to travel and wants a game that they can play on their laptop while they're traveling from A to B, then it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
exactly. Yeah.
You can't play it. You have to play something else, which is, I don't know. I think they missed a step there. I think they, as I've said, they could have found a way around it so you could have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, could have kept it a completely separate single player, where if you wanted to, you're not going to have any of those benefits, but you can at least play the story beginning to end offline. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Maybe they could have done that, but they decided not to do that. I mean, as we mentioned earlier with Microsoft might have something to say about that. They might have to say, right, you have to have an offline mode as well as an online mode because we're not selling people a game that's online only. Could be. I think that does us for this episode. Av, do you have anything to add? How are you feeling so far about the game? Give us a rating so far. How you feel
I
about it?
would give it like 8 out of 10, obviously. But this is a good game. This is really worth playing. Like, if you were a fan of the previous game, and hell, if you even weren't a fan of the previous game, might be worth looking at.
All right.
It's exactly as it should play. Like, everything clicks, pretty much.
Yeah, it's very responsive. It's very responsive. It's very. I don't know. They make me want to click my mouse so much. It's amazing.
You do that anyway. You spam clicker.
Well, I spam my keyboard. This is more like League of Legends spam. Aaron, you're formulating your opinion for your review. Is it gonna get a good score? Do you think?
Yeah, of course it is. Is it gonna be get a perfect score? I don't know about that, but it definitely it's a good game. You can't argue against it.
This isn't the perfect game, obviously.
Well, perfect score doesn't necessarily mean perfect game, but that's a whole different
Sure.
topic.
Indeed. Anyway, I think the general consensus is if you're on the fence, go get it, go play it. It's a pretty awesome game. As long as you've got a reliable internet connection, we recommend it. It's a lot of fun. You don't have to be in a party. You can be in a party. I think that there's a lot of if you haven't played a game like this before, there's not many games like this. There's Torchlight, but yes, it's an old school game. So go out there and play Diablo 3. It's awesome, right? It's awesome. All right, guys. If a sim's listening to this, you need to go get this game. All right. Forget about LMA Manager 2012. You want to play this game. And anyone.
LMA Manager. That's an ancient game, dude.
It
I'm
is.
surprised you remember that. That was an amazing game. What was that? That was PlayStation something.
Original play. That was the game. We're going off topic here, but that was the game where you had like highlights.
Yeah. Idiot.
That was amazing. All right. LMA Manager. All right. I don't know. I was thinking about that game all day today for some reason.
Why?
I don't know.
Think about like Football Manager or something.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
wrong with you?
I don't know. He got some management. He got some management game. All right. He got some management game on the PC.
No, Championship Manager, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.